When Kieran gets the ball rolling like this, you know big things are about to happen.
All right, so we're here with the Illuvium Rundown episode 3. We've been doing this twice a month, so we're about 2 weeks out. I think we have a lot of good stuff for you this week. Let me give you a quick rundown of the topics that we're covering today. We have the Illuvidex version 2 that just recently came out. We're going to talk about Kieran's 20-year plan. It's a thread that he posted on Twitter. Private Beta 2 is here, so we're going to talk about Private Beta 2. Then we have a call with Froby, who's going to be giving us his expert, insight onto Private Beta 2. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Illuvium Zero, Kieran's AMAs, and then we'll get into the leak of the week, and that'll be it for today.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm excited to kick things off. Episode 3, Illuvium Rundown. It's great to be back. I think that a lot has happened since the last 2 weeks, so we will have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we were just talking about before we get started here. It's so easy to come up with content to make for Illuvium because there's constantly new leaks, new stuff coming out. We probably could do something like this every day if we really wanted to.
Yeah, if you're a content creator in Web3, there's no better place to be than Illuvium. I mean, you see the leaks they put out pretty much every day. They just put out I don't want to ruin the leak of the week actually. So I'll hold off on that. But yeah, this community, this team, this gaming studio, they just always putting out stuff for us to talk about. So
let's start out with Illuvidex version 2. This just recently came out. This kind of came out of the blue. They didn't even really hype this up too much. They just sent out a notification saying it's here. So, I hopped on the land for Illuvium Zero. That's out there. You can get on there. There's a lot of different features that you can see. Illuvatars and Illuvials for the main game, those will be coming soon, whenever those are released, obviously. But what do you think about this version 2?
Yeah.
A little bit of an upgrade, huh?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of an upgrade. They just revamped the whole marketplace. There's easier navigation, so just getting around the site is a little bit easier. I always try to think about I kind of compare it to Token Trove because Token Trove seems to have the best setup currently, but Illuvium is on their way to getting to that point. And I think once they bring the map in where it shows your assets and the assets for sale right next to it, kind of like Token Trove does, I think that's when it's really going to put it over the top. And then I'll probably just move over to using that full time. But right now they're on the right track. I mean, they're really building out the back end for the long term, which is great to see. You want that to be ready for when we're going to be selling alluvials, when we're going to be trading alluvials. You want that all to be in place, and they are well on their way. So I'm pretty happy with the progress on the Illuvidex.
Yeah, and I think just having a game having their own, decks or platform to make these trades and exchanges on is it's such an advantage because there's a lot of games that still use OpenSea to
Yep.
trade and sell their assets, and it just brings things to a whole nother level. Axie did it, Fancy Birds did it, but just being able to get onto the actual Illuvidex and not having to go through OpenSea or an IMX marketplace, I think is a big improvement. And just what they've already done, and the game hasn't even released yet, you know that they're just going to keep making improvements, and that's going to be a lot of people are going to be on that Illuvidex. I know I'm going to be on it every day. Yeah. Seeing what's available, seeing what I can put on the market. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And I think that, the vision I have ultimately with the Illuvidex is eventually it's going to just be right ingrained in the overworld. Like you're in Sanctum Mesa at your little hub, you go up to one of those little house things and it's just the Illuvidex.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's not what's going to happen, but I feel like that's the road we're headed down.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one, but that would be kind of cool. It would kind of bring it to what Web 2 games are more like.
Yeah.
Except that we're actually going to be on the blockchain, being able to make some real trades. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, so that if they can make that seamless transition where it doesn't even feel like you're going to a different part of the website to interact with the marketplace, that's when you're gonna hit a home run. That's just gonna be next level. That's coming up with the Illuvidex, hopefully. But another thing, just talking about the future, we got the 20-year plan of Illuvium, which is it's an interesting topic because Kieran recently put out a Twitter thread that was pretty pretty interesting in terms of what their plan is. I know they're thinking about a lot of different games. Nick, you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So, Kieran laid out this 20-year plan, and obviously he touched on every part of Illuvium, about how they have plans to make 9 different interoperable games, how the lore is going to play into every new game that comes out. He talked about, a Illuvium that's going to be coming, where he's going to be bringing in, people from the crypto world and entertainment. He talked about movies and merch and really expanding on the IP, making it like really what Pokemon has been able to do. McDonald's toys, going to the store just to find an Atlas t-shirt. And another one of the big things he talked about is when the next bull run kicks off, they're going to do a mega raise so they can fund this plan for the next 20 years. It's really exciting anytime you hear Kieran talk about the future. He gets me pumped up. I know he gets a lot of people pumped up, but you can tell this is not just something that they're trying for now and they're going to be moving on in the future. This is really, it's like a life commitment for them. It's going to be awesome. You got a chance to read that thread, right? What do you think about it?
Yeah, really what it said to me was like, Illuvium is more than just a game. This is going to be a full-blown brand in gaming and in other parts of life. It's just going to be like similar to how big Pokemon is. That's how I think about it. And like, when Atlas plushie, right? So like that's the road we're headed down.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any way we're stopping this train. Like this thing is coming down the tracks whether people want it or not. Blockchain gaming is here to stay, and Illuvium they're just ready to set the world on fire. Really,
the first IBG,
the
first interoperable blockchain game, and people don't even know what this is yet, but they'll find out soon, and they'll wish they're in as early as we're in right now.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing, Illuvifest. Once again, I'm just so jealous that I don't live in Australia because that seems like it's going to be super cool. I know you left a comment for Kieran on Twitter talking about, hey, can we ship like do every other year? Let's do let's do the US one year, then we'll do Australia the next year. I don't know if he's going to do that, but maybe they'll make an appearance on this side of the pond.
That the first one is going to be in Australia.
Yeah.
I've never been there, so I could see myself, buying a ticket, getting over there.
Yeah.
But outside of Australia, the United States is one of the biggest.
Yeah, right. You got to think, right?
I've seen. I think I saw a tweet from Kieran that said about 40% of their player base or their fan base or however he was comparing it is from the United States.
Yep.
And maybe another 40% is from Australia, and then the other 20% is spread out throughout the world. But there is a big following here in the United States. I think it would just be fantastic if they could alternate years.
Yeah.
1 year in Australia, 1 year in the United States.
Kieran, if you're watching, Illuvifest Miami 2024 has a pretty good ring to it. Just saying.
Bring it to Boston.
No one wants to come to the cold weather.
I'll go down to Miami.
We'll go take the trip to Miami.
Yeah.
We'll do a live rundown on the water. How about that?
Yeah, that works for me. But anyways, 20-year plan. I feel like I'm going to be here for the 20 years.
Yep.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if I wasn't in it for the long term. So it's going to be an exciting next 20 years. I really can't wait.
Yeah, you got to think big picture. Big picture.
Big picture. All right, so let's move on here. So we're going to talk about Private Beta 2 a little bit. So my experience with Private Beta 2 is it's a little overwhelming. I haven't been the biggest gamer over the past 10 to 15 years, and I got a good grasp with Private Beta 1, but Private Beta 2 really brings a whole new level to things. I feel like that the skill cap is going to be so high, like you're really going to have to be a professional to fully understand this game.
Yeah, I've put in a few hours on PB2 so far, and I gotta admit, I like auto battlers to an extent, but I'm definitely more of an overworld and a city builder guy. And I know city builder guy. Maybe that makes me sound like a nerd, but I also write a ton of articles, so maybe I just am a nerd. But I'm glad we have Frobei coming up because he's going to be able to explain some things to us about the auto battler that I didn't know. And I think he's going to provide some insight that is going to help me try to get better at that. Because I know when you're in the overworld, you're going to have to do these auto battles. So I'm going to have to get some level of competency when I'm playing that. But so far, like you're saying, I'm overwhelmed as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really excited for when we can actually go, PvP and playing in the arena and then the Leviathan arena. That's really what I'm gunning for.
Yeah.
But I know, what's going on in the survival mode is really going to transfer over. Everyone who's really good at this survival mode is going to be even more prepared for that PvP mode. So I need to, first of all, I need to upgrade my computer so I can start playing at the high levels.
Yep.
But yeah, I need to get more time in the game and really start focusing down. And like you said, with Froby coming up in a minute, he's been putting out some great content on how to get better at Private Beta 2. I've watched a little bit. I know I need to watch more. But just all these new alluvials, like forget the augments and the bonding. Just bringing in the new alluvials with all the different things they can do, it's really pretty cool. Especially those tier 1s. Tier 1s, I mean not tier 1s, tier zeros.
Yeah.
Can you believe there's going to be people coming into this game being able to play with those tier zeros for free?
Yeah. So first off with the tier zeros, I'm a big Grocko fan. I just think he's got a great look.
Yeah.
That big belly's pretty cool. And then Doka. So that was one thing I didn't actually realize in PB2 was that there's going to be like lesser versus like greater. So there's like a lesser Doka that's like 25 mastery points. That was pretty interesting because you have these like...
Yeah, because you can fuse the tier zeros too.
Yeah, so you can fuse them.
Two of the stage 1 tier zeros into the stage 2. And they don't change form like the tier 1s through 5. They keep the same form. I think they physically get a little bigger, right?
Yeah, and then also the other thing that I keep forgetting to do, I should really just put like a sticky note on my computer. I gotta be like, I need to remember to fuse Arlen with one of them.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting to do that. So
I'm not composite synergy.
I'm not the auto battler like giving out advice guy. That's not me. Don't come to me for that. It's just not my. I don't know. It's not my bag. But remembering to do that, those little things, I don't know. I think Frobei is going to help us a lot here.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about being a content creator for Illuvium here is like there are so many different areas you can niche down just in Illuvium.
Yeah.
But we all need to be competent in all of these spaces.
Right,
so yeah,
right.
I'm not going to claim to be the best auto battler and player out there for Illuvium, but like you better bet I'm going to try.
Yeah, I think the best wave I've gotten to so far was 17. So there you go.
It's not too bad.
Just going to put that out there.
Not too bad. All right, so yeah, we have Froby coming on a call. So let's
bring him on.
Give him a call, bring him on, and see what he's got to say. Hey. Froby, how you doing?
Good. I didn't know you guys were together actually.
Oh yeah. We only live 15 minutes apart. We figured that out like a couple months ago. So we've been throwing together these Illuvium rundowns.
Seriously? Wow, such a coincidence. I'm jealous actually. I wish I could meet people like this as well.
I know. Yeah, when we figured this out, that's what we were saying. We were like, we got to do something in person because nobody else is doing anything in person because everybody's so far away from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we couldn't believe it. Just like, what are the chances that there's two people creating Illuvium content 15 minutes from each other? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, especially like you're both in America, right?
Yeah.
States.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big country, like honestly.
Yeah, exactly. We're like in the top little corner at Massachusetts, Rhode Island area.
Cool. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well.
That's why you guys are making content together.
Yeah, and it's been going pretty good so far. But thank you for joining us. This is our 3rd episode, so you're our 3rd guest we have on here. We just wanted to really ask you a couple questions about Private Beta 2. In my opinion, you're the expert in the field right now for at least somebody who's doing YouTube and making content. So what are your thoughts on Private Beta 2? Like the augments, how much more do augments matter to the game and being able to, for bonding? What does that bring to the game?
Yeah, so I think it increases a lot of depth in the game. Like I would say like augments, bonding, and every big feature like this just adds another layer into the game. So if we had to say like the private beta 1, the game already has some layers of difficulty of like just the difficulty of the game was already tough, big. And so now with like augments, you have more choices to make. And then you have bonding, so you have even more choices to make. And then now you have interest of mastery point. So you have even more choices to make, right? And at one point, like, if I could compare, I would say Private Beta 1 was kind of a straight road, even if it didn't feel that way when we were playing. But now we have played Private Beta 2, it feels like every time we have to choose between 3 to 4 different roads in order to reach the destination, which is basically trying to reach the end game, right? So for these reasons, I feel like it increases a lot of replayability. It increases a lot of depth. I said it already. And I think also what I really like to see, thanks to the augments and bonding and new weapons and so on, it feels like now we can reach more or less the same results, but with different options, with different teams, with different decisions. And that's where I find that the game, that's where I believe that the game needs to keep on doing this, because this is what will hook people.
Yeah, Frobei, that's really cool, and it's interesting to hear your perspective on that as someone who's obviously you were a TFT pro, and you're one of the few that are also creating content in the Illuvium space. So we really value your opinion. My question is just from making the jump from PB1 to PB2, when you were first starting out, like your first time going through the waves, what do you look for? Because I would imagine it's probably different than what I look for as like more of like a beginner to the auto battler scene. So what are like the main things when you're first starting to play PB2? What do you look for?
So the first round is I'm always lacking time right now, because we have only 40 seconds, right, to make a move and try to win the first round. I already lost a few times just because I was reading too much and I didn't put anything on the board and I just lost. So what I usually like to do is the first wave. I think all of them, you can beat them just with putting a weapon on a good weapon on your ranger and maybe an armor. And then during the time that's left and during the fight, I would try to look at the late game Illuvios, what are the most powerful Illuvios in the deck, but the one I can rely on, maybe from mid game to late game. I would also look at the augments. Of course, the augments, you asked earlier, the augments have right now a huge impact. You can transform an Illuvio, which is not really good, to a insane monster with 2 good augments on it. So, and when I see those information, so the Illuvio and the augments, I start to try to see what kind of combination I can make, what looks amazing to make. Do I want to have more rogues, maybe with some AoE debuff to remove the armor around the Illuvios, or do I want to play more into support with a lot of shield and heal, potentially because I have augments that amplify it, this kind of stuff. And I try to do that in the first waves, while at the same time I'm trying to not lose in the first waves, and trying also to save as much mastery points as possible by making more interest. So in case I'll just repeat in case for people who don't know yet. Right now, the less mastery point we use, the more we get the next turn. So there's a strategy in early game to try to use as less as possible, and sometimes I win fights with just 10 HP on my ranger, but I win, so it's good. I can save more mastery point for the next turn.
Awesome. One final question for you. From the survival mode standpoint, do you feel like it's a complete game now, or do you think there's still improvements to be made?
So I have to remove my perspective of PvP and overworld and everything, right? Just survival mode,
yeah,
as it is. Okay. So I think right now, we still need to. There's still some bugs there and there that needs to be fixed. But it's normal. It's private beta, so we're here to try and all of that. I think we need to. For me to feel it completed, in my opinion, is when we'll be able to play survival mode with our own deck. That the deck we have crafted, we have built, and even if we captured or not before, doesn't matter. As long as we can create our own deck, I feel like this is going to be a complete game. Because this is something like I'm really, really looking forward to, and every time I see some decks, I'm like, if only I could put this illusion, I would have an insane deck. It would be so much more fun. But that's how it is right now, and in the future, of course, it will be the way I described. We will be able to build our own deck and try it and test it on survival mode.
Yeah, and that way you can prepare with synergies and everything. Have more of a game plan going in instead of figuring out something new each and every day.
Yeah, and I think we're a little spoiled right now with having the full deck every time. Like in reality, we're not going to have that. We're going to have our own alluvials, and it's going to be tough to catch some of those stronger ones. So like we are all very spoiled right now.
Yeah, well,
I'm just going to add on something.
Yeah,
if you wanted to move on.
Oh no, go for it.
Okay. I'm just going to add something here. I totally agree with. So how should I call you, Rafi?
Yeah, you can call me Rampy. Yeah.
Okay. So I agree with you, Rafi. I think when we start to get our own illuvials, so when they are becoming real NFTs, because right now they're not NFTs, of course, the one we're playing with, it's gonna be tough to go from, I don't know, Rimfire, Dualess, Coriox team into just a team of 5 Atlas and Tattlepy.
Right. Yeah.
That's gonna be tough, but I think it's going to be fun on its own way, right? Because we can say like this is our team and my team, not someone else. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Frobei, I have been watching some of your longer form videos on YouTube, some of the documentary style stuff. Keep up the good work with that. It's looking really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
yeah, definitely. I'll try to get a link to your YouTube, and I'll put it in the description down below here. But thank you for taking this call and giving us your thoughts on Private Beta 2, and maybe we'll have you back on the Illuvium Rundown sometime soon.
Yeah, sure. With pleasure, of course.
All right, have a good one.
See ya.
Yeah, you too. Peace.
All right, so thanks again, Frobei, for jumping on. That was a great interview, great segment with him.
Yep.
So next thing we're going to be talking about is Illuvium Zero, this is more my speed. I love city builder games, and a lot of people I've seen just like, I'm not so excited about the city builder. I'm the opposite. I'm the guy that likes it.
Yeah.
So here I am.
I'm with you there.
You're with me?
I'm with you there.
All right, so I'm not alone.
Just the fact that it's going to be mobile, you know?
Yeah, that's true too. And like
when my boss isn't watching at work,
yeah,
I'm going to be playing a little bit of Illuvium Zero.
I'm going to be checking often. So like they're like, oh, it's going to be like a half an hour a day. But like certain things are going to time out at different times. So like you are going to have to check pretty consistently. So to have it on the phone is huge. I used to play a game called Caesar 3. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was like a Roman Empire type city builder that I played so many hours of that growing up. And so I feel like I'm super, super ready for Illuvium Zero. But what do you think so far?
I'm, like you said, I'm actually pretty excited for this. One of the things that actually gets said in that 20-year plan by Kieran is that Illuvium Zero is going to be the financial hub of Illuvium. You know, if you're really looking to make a return in the game, I think it's going to be through Illuvium Zero.
Yep.
The bigger the main game gets, like, there's really no cap in the main game. We can have 100,000, 200,000, a million, 2 million players at some point, but there's only ever going to be 100,000 plots of land.
Yep.
So the more people that get into the main game over the next 10, 20 years, the more they're going to need to purchase this fuel off of the Illuvium Zero landholders. So as time goes on, as this game gets bigger, and they have a fourth game and a fifth game and up to a ninth game, the landholders are just going to be the ones benefiting more than almost anybody else. I'm kind of, if you're familiar with my channel, I'm really into the financial side of it, the GameFi side of it.
Yep.
So I'm excited just to really figure out with my I have 3 plots of land that I'm going to be playing, and just to figure out what's the best way to go about this. Is it going to be searching for those blueprints? Is it going to be, mining fuel and sending the fuel out? When I should be converting this stuff to get the most return. That part of it really excites me.
Yep.
And also just another thing that Kieran mentioned, he's the one where we're getting a lot of our information from, is that over the 20 years, they have plans to expand what Illuvium Zero is. He says it won't just be an auto clicker, or an idle clicker, whatever you want to call it there. He didn't get too much into depth on what it could be, but I've heard the idea thrown around of maybe you can actually take our land or whatever and walk around your Illuvium Zero land. Maybe we won't be catching any alluvials in Illuvium Zero, but
Well, you got blueprints.
But yeah, there's blueprints, so we could be catching alluvials passing by our land for blueprints.
Yep.
But just knowing that they're going to keep expanding on this, whatever does get released in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think, hopefully, that we're looking at, that's still not going to be the complete game. I don't think this will ever be a complete game. It'll always be in beta form, open beta, because they're just going to keep making improvements.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think anything with Illuvium, you see Grant all the time, right? Nothing's ever good enough. Yeah. So they're always going to be doing something. And I also have 3 plots of land, and I did hear the same that you were hearing, where there is going to be a time where the overworld kind of mixes with Illuvium Zero, and you're going to have the opportunity to run around your land, mine in a different way, potentially something like that, where it's more immersive. So those days are coming at some point, 2030 maybe, I have no idea. But it is cool that they're thinking about the future in that way. And I think the showcase that Andrew and Grant did on Illuvium Zero is a great place to start to see what the mobile version is going to look like.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of different aspects of the game. They showed the blueprint parts, the research. There's some lore in there about the alluvials. So all that stuff is really cool as well. And then it's strategy of where exactly to place certain buildings for efficiency and things like that. I, like you, I'm into the finance side of it. That's going to be really cool to maximize the efficiency. Yeah, that gets me way more excited than most things.
It does.
And I know you're
crazy that way, but I'm gonna be so into. I know I'm gonna be texting you. I'm gonna be where are you dropping that converter? What buildings are you putting up first?
And this guy's a big Excel sheet guy. He's gonna have a million Excel sheets about.
I already got some in the work.
Yeah.
But let's move on here. Kieran, AMA. I don't have one set up with Kieran right now. But it is something I'm looking to do. Whenever I do, I will let you know on my main channel. And if I do get a chance to talk with him, it's going to be a lot of the business side of things. I don't think those questions get asked too much. But really what we want to talk about is just the run that he's on right now with all of these AMAs. I think he's looking to get in 50 AMAs over a 30-day period.
Yeah, so I actually wrote an article about this morning on rampfire.io. When Kieran gets the ball rolling like this, big things are about to happen. He did something similar before the land sale. Boom, land sale goes off, $72 million later. Big success. So it's definitely part of the strategy of the team to have Kieran just go nonstop, just crisscrossing the internet, talking to anyone and everyone. And hopefully this guy soon.
Yeah.
And that's just how he does it. And he just kind of thrives on it. And the Warwick brothers they're just literally insane. Grant will, all hours of the night, he's on the showcase at 4 a.m. He's staying up all night working on things. Kieran's the same way. When they're going 100% pedal to the metal, not stopping. To the point of exhaustion and health concerns at times. But that's how the Warwick brothers do it. And I respect the hell out of that. But to see Kieran in this mode once again, because he hasn't been in the AMA mode since the spring, before the land sale. To see him at that point again is really exciting. I feel for TSG right now because he's the one that's booking all of these.
Setting it all up,
And he's been on a lot of them.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job. That's why they hired him. But like, he's got like the hardest job in America right now, keeping up with Kieran. So shout out TSG. You're doing well.
Yeah. You know that this plan of 50 AMAs in 30 days, it's not a waste. It's not for nothing. He's not just going to get through these 50 AMAs and just let things cool down again. This is building up to something. Yeah. I think he's probably about a week or so into this, maybe 2 weeks. So I'm predicting that like in the next 2 to 4 weeks, something big is going to be dropped.
Yep.
Whether it's Illuvitators or I don't know, maybe dare I say something with the overworld comes out.
Oh man,
I think this is leading to something, and it's getting me excited. It's getting a lot of people excited. I know we have an Illuvium influencer chat that we're always talking to each other, and the search, like Google search for Illuvium, has been picking up quite a bit over the past couple weeks. So more people are paying attention. I think something big's coming. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about what Kieran's doing is like he's getting on all platforms and he's going on big channels, small channels. Shout out to Artemis who just had him on. She's only got 120 something subscribers on YouTube, but she's got a great interview with Kieran on her channel.
And Ben.
Ben
was
I
mean, the insight that Ben can provide. I mean, he knows stuff that Kieran doesn't even know. He's got all the secrets, but like, I think he made a joke on there like he can't tell Grant anything anymore because Grant Von Leekman, he'll leak whatever, no matter what. You can give him the nuclear codes. They'll be out on Twitter in like 10 minutes. So like, so it's great to see people like Artemis in the community catching on like she has. She's doing an awesome job. Maybe we'll have her on here one day.
Hey, maybe we will. But another thing being said with all this, all of these AMAs, it's almost impossible to watch all of them. If you're tuned into channels like this, and some of the other creators, or on ramfire.com reading his articles, you're gonna get all that information that gets leaked on these AMAs because, like I said, I don't think anyone has 4 to 5 hours a day to be watching Kieran talk. But between us content creators, we put it all together and sum it up for everybody.
Yep.
And we'll be talking more about that, on this channel. Are we ready for a leak of the week?
It's my favorite time of the week. Every time we do this show, the leak of the week. You can't have a better title than that. First off, I think I say that every time.
Yeah,
it's just the best. Like leak of the week, it just rolls right off the tongue. So this week we got some pretty juicy leaks. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think I went first last time, so why don't you kick it off?
All right. So my leak of the week this week is some really cool rendered videos from that render farm in the Illuvium studios that is apparently sounds like a fighter jet. And it's super loud, but this is like, they have the cream of the crop render farm. And what they put out this week was Mozart, revealing the Illuvitators NFTs, that kind of concept.
Yeah. It's like opening loot boxes kind of feel you get there. Like,
yeah, exactly. And
I'm going to want to keep buying more just to see that.
Yeah, that blew me away. I was like, that's so cool. The other thing they showed with the leaks with Mozart was when you catch an alluvial, there's some fireworks there. Pretty cool. And then there was also, if you have like a holographic or like a dark holographic, there's like certain special celebratory type things that Mozart does in those situations. So they showed a little of that, and man, it was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of Mozart, this just reminded me, I think I caught this as a leak in Artemis's video. Kieran mentioned that he thinks Mozart is going to take damage in PvP matches. So what's going to happen? You're going to have different rounds of matches in PvP, and whoever loses that round, Mozart is going to take the damage. Okay. And when Mozart dies off, that's when the final match ends. Oh. That was the first time I heard of that, and this might be the first time it was even leaked out there. But that's pretty cool. Mozart is I almost like it more than I like the Illuvials. Like Mozart is so cool.
I mean, Mozart is like Toad from Super Mario Brothers. Like when you play like Super Mario 64, you have the toads everywhere, and they're helping you out, that kind of thing. That's kind of how I think of Mozart, or the fairy from Zelda. Yeah, kind of like that. And to have a little companion buddy that you can put different skins on. He's kind of badass. He's
customize him however you want. Yeah.
He's smart, and like to have someone like that in the game is pretty cool. And if you're saying that he's gonna take damage for us, even better.
Yeah.
But like
right?
what they put out this week, and like it just shows once again like the level that Illuvium is going to. Mm. Like those were like beautiful videos, fully rendered, like just next level that Grant is always trying to get to. And they totally nailed it with that.
Awesome. So what I have here is these very cute pictures of Atlas. And it's more than just these pictures. It just shows how they're going to be able to expand this IP. Mm-hmm. You look at these, and these are things that you could buy this on a t-shirt for your little 6-year-old. I probably will do that for my 6-year-old. I'll get her a couple of these. She'll wear it to her first grade class. All the kids will be talking about it.
Yep.
But then you can see what Atlas turns into, and then you got Axodon, how that mean alluvial, and how that speaks to like us guys in our 25 to 35 range there. It's really gonna be cool. Getting these on a t-shirt. Like, take my money, because I'm getting them whenever they come out.
And I'm sitting here looking at the coffee mug. I want the coffee mug. I want,
right?
Like, look at how...
Soon we're going to have the coffee mug right here. We're going to be wearing our T-shirts.
Atlas looks so comfy there. You got the little, like, tadpole Atlas. Like, I don't even know the little tadpole's name. That's not even an alluvial yet, but they included that in the concept.
Hey, you never know. So... Remember when, I think... second or third generation Pokemon? Right. They added in those baby Pokemon?
Like the Togepi baby.
Maybe this is our first glimpse of it.
Yeah. Yep. I think we're gonna see that little guy at some point later in maybe version 2 of the Illuvials or something. But like, man, this concept art is just shows what Illuvium is capable of, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and I've heard. I think this was Kieran who said this. That they're getting to a point where they have a lot of the art completed for the regular game. So a lot of their artists are starting to move on to more merchandise and more like broadening the IP. So it's pretty cool. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these concepts until they become reality, real things.
Yeah. So that's the leaks of the week, guys, and I think that wraps up the Illuvium Rundown. And subscribe to this guy on YouTube. Yeah. You can check out ramfire.io on my end.
Yep, still posting a couple times a week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a couple articles a week. We enjoy doing this. We're gonna continue to try to do every 2 weeks. And episode 3, I think we're in the books here.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna be trying to bring on a guest every episode. Who knows? Unconfirmed, but maybe Kieran gets on here soon. Or one of the Warwick brothers. But we're always bringing on people who are going to give us some good insight. We're doing quick hits, less than 5 minutes on these different topics. If you like this, make sure you're watching these videos, you're liking, you're subscribing. The better these videos perform, the more it motivates us to keep going with this. And if these really start performing well, maybe we go to weekly instead of bi-weekly.
Yeah.
We are, I know I've said this for the past 2 episodes, we're trying to get this in a podcast form. So if you don't have the time to actually sit and watch it on YouTube, you'll be able to listen to it on a podcast in the car, maybe driving to work or at work. We will let you know when that happens.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.
All right. See ya.